All right. Then go ahead and get started. A little crazy day here, but we're just going to take it all chill and easy. All right. Okay, so today is lesson 2, and we are going to continue working with our story that we began yesterday. So our first, just flying through those slides. All right, learning targets for today. I can find the meaning of unfamiliar words and phrases, including figurative language. And we're going to do that inside an excerpt of More Than Anything Else. So we're going to take part of the story, just a little part of it, and analyze it and look at what the words really meant. So we're going to talk about figurative language and what that means. And excerpt. Does anybody know what excerpt means? That's a new vocabulary word too. That it means a section of. It just means we pulled. So when you read just your Thailand page or just your Finland page from the book, or Zimbabwe, when you looked at just 2 of those pages, that was part of a bigger story, like Librarian is a Camel. That's what we call an excerpt. An excerpt is when we have a small section of something. So today we're going to take a small section of our story from yesterday and really look closely at it and look at some words and some phrases and figure out what do they really mean. Because this author uses some really interesting language to get us to feel and understand Booker's feelings and his position. So the second learning target is I can explain how the central message or moral is conveyed through details in the section that we're in the part of More Than Anything Else. All right, so we're going to talk first about something called figurative language. And figurative language is pretty fun because it is a really great way for authors to help you understand something, but it's using words in an interesting way. So think about the phrase, I've got butterflies in my stomach. You heard that phrase before?
Yes.
Yes. Does it really mean like that picture on the screen? Does it really mean that there are butterflies inside your tummy? No, it doesn't really mean that, right? It's what we call figurative language. It's something that so literally would mean we actually have butterflies in there and flying around, which we know isn't true. So what does that really mean? What does I've got butterflies in my stomach really mean? Marin? Your stomach hurts? Okay. What do you think, Miss Haley?
I think it means like you're like really fast on something, like you get a little scared and like your stomach starts to like tickle.
Okay, so when you're going really fast on something, like hold it. Hold on. What is it? I want it from Haley. Okay, so Haley says she thinks that it means that when you're going on a merry-go-round or something, you're writing something and it's going really fast. All right, Madison.
I think it means like you're
nervous about something. Abby, is that what you were going to say too? Because I saw your hand go down. All right, Abby, what do you think?
I think it means like your stomach feels queasy.
Stomach feels queasy. All right, Sunny?
I think it means when you're like scared to do something and you just like feel it because you're so scared.
Okay, so when you're about to do something and you're scared and so your stomach doesn't feel very well. All right, okay. So this is a perfect example of figurative language. Figurative language, I've got my word up here. Here's my vocabulary word that's going to go over there soon. But figurative language means when an author uses words or expressions with the I'm gonna just for a second, I'm gonna get out of here and turn my dock camera on for a second. Uses words or expressions with a meaning that is different than how it sounds. All right, come on, dock camera. Here we go. There we go. Figurative language. When an author, and you can even use figurative language, you are authors, uses words or expressions with a meaning that is different from how it sounds. So even though it sounds like we actually have butterflies, that's not really what it means. It means that you're nervous, right, about something. You're worried or nervous. Your tummy is a little you know, might not be upset, but it might just be that's not the usual one because you are, you know, having extra feelings about something in particular. So today we're going to look at a lot of figurative language that the author, Marie Brady, has used in this story. And so we're going to do some close reading. We're going to take some one section of text, and we're really going to think about what each part of it means. And we're going to look at some of the words and see if we can find some vocabulary words that we want to look at and figure out the meaning to. All right. So in your EL workbook, you have a page. Let's see, what page is that? Go ahead and open your work. I'm pretty sure it's 68, but let's double check. Let's look. Yep, page 68. So everybody find page 68 for me. It looks like this. This is our excerpt of More Than Anything Else. Rather than looking at that one, just so that you can see it a little better, I'm going to put it on my screen as a little bigger. All right. Here we go. All right. Got too many things blocking too many things here for everybody to see my screen. All right, maybe down is better. There we go. Try it in that way. All right, so we're going to look at different parts of this work that the author wrote, and we're going to talk about what parts of it mean. All right, so I'm just going to read it to you first, and then I want to see if you right now can think of where you see some figurative language. All right, so it says, after work, even though my shoulders still ache and my legs are stained with salt, I study my book. I stare at the marks and try to imagine their song. I draw the marks on the dirt floor and try to figure out what sounds they make, what story their picture tells. But sometimes I feel like I'm trying to jump without legs, and my thoughts get slippery, and I can't keep up with what I want to be and how good I will feel when I learn this magic, and how people will look up to me. I can't catch the tune of what I see. I get a salt shoveling pain and feel my dreams are slipping away. I've got to find him, that newspaper man. You remember that part from yesterday? Yeah. So let's look and see if we can find some words that we need to look at first. So after work, even though my shoulders still ache and my legs are stained with salt, I study my book. Who knows what the word stain means? And this is the word stain with a ED at the end, right? Stained. But what is a stain? And then we can probably figure out when we add the letters ED how that adds. Yeah, Gabe, what's a stain? When you get something on your shirt and can't get it off, that happens at my house all the time. And somebody forgets to tell me that they have a stain. And then once you wash it, sometimes it's almost impossible to get it out, right? Okay, Abby, do you want to add something to that?
When if you get like something like juice on the carpet, you can get it over there.
like our red spot over here on the carpet, right? Okay, something you get. So Abby said when you get something on something that our example was on the floor. We have a stain in our classroom that's some red juice that never came out. Okay, Serena, you want to add something? Yeah, no, that's perfect. So a stain is a mark that doesn't come off easily. And you all sort of expressed that, right? So in this case, so we talked about a rug, we talked about clothes. In this case, let's read his sentence again. After work, even though my shoulders still ache and my legs are stained with salt. So what should we think about that? Because so far we have only mentioned clothes. and we've mentioned the carpet. This case is legs. So what does that mean if his legs are stained? August? They have pain in them. Okay, so the stain is on the outside, so it might hurt. We know that standing in the salt hurt his feet, right? And it hurt his skin when it scratched it. I think in this case we're talking slump. We're not quite talking about pain. We're talking about his shoulders aching for sure, and that's pain for there. What do you think, Miss Sunny?
I think it means like there's a bunch of salt all of his legs and he can't get off.
Right, there you go. So Miss Sunny said he's got a bunch of salt that he can just never quite get off. It's always, and so remember, what color is his skin? It's dark, right? It's dark. So, and what color is salt? White, right? So if his legs, he can't get off that salt, instead of his normal skin color, you're going to be able to see white, a lot of white stuck to that he just can't quite get all off. Very good. Logan, is there something you wanted to add?
I was going to reply to the stain.
Okay. Did you have a slightly different idea that you wanted to share?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, then great job. Awesome. So so that's one of the words that we want. Oh, love it when my computer does that.
I think I'm doing it.
Oh, well, oh, right, because it's your screen. I have that same problem in math, by the way. I'm trying to click on one of the tabs that doesn't exist on my computer screen. Yes, I gotcha. All right, so did anybody see any figurative language? Anything that doesn't actually mean what it sounds like? My friends at home, did anybody see a sentence there that looks like it's something that's slightly different than what it really means? Lila.
So, I see that, when it says, I get that salt shoveling pain and I feel my dreams slipping away, I think it means that he's sore and that he just really wants to read.
He's expressing how badly he wants to read. You are right. So let's look there. So his shoulders ache. So is that do his shoulders really ache, do you think? Is that a figurative language or a literal language? Literal, right? His shoulders actually do ache from all of that shoveling, right? But he is still willing to try and try and try, right? Logan, what do you want to add?
I recognize that I feel like I'm trying to jump without my legs.
Right. Does he actually feel like he's trying to jump?
No.
No, right? So what would it be? So we're going to spend some time analyzing that very sentence. But sometimes I feel like I'm trying to jump without legs. Okay, so think about jumping. Everybody knows how that feels, right? Let's all try it. Stand by your desk, give a jump. How high can you jump? And friends at home, I see you jumping as well. Jump as high as you can jump. Okay. All right, so go ahead and have a seat. What did you have to use to do your jumping? Your legs. Okay, so without using your legs, so if you're at home, do this too. Put your feet up off the floor. Now jump. No, can't put your feet down. Try it. Come on. Get up there. Oh, some of you are using those feet. Oh, I see some of you are using your hands. So, okay, go ahead and stop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So, was that easy? No. Some of you used your hands and you figured out a different way to jump. I saw that. But if you aren't allowed to use your hands and not allowed to use your legs, so sometimes I feel like I'm trying to jump without legs. How do you think he's feeling? What does that really tell you? So that's figurative language. he actually trying to jump without legs? No. But he's talking about his trying to read. Feels like that, right? So when he's trying, he's got that book. He's looking at those marks. So let's read the sentence before that because it really adds to that sentence. I draw the marks on the dirt floor. So he copies those letters, right? He's copying those letters onto his dirt. And it says, and I try to figure out what sounds they make. But since he doesn't know what those sounds they make, that's, you know, he says, then he's just frustrated, right? What story their picture tells. Remember, they look like marks to him. He doesn't have any idea what sounds they represent or what words they represent. So he feels like he's trying to jump without legs. How must that feel? This author is trying to give you an idea of how he's feeling. Madison, how does that help us understand how he's feeling?
Well, I think he's feeling like kind of lost in his mind because sometimes, like when I read when I read one page and then I'm done, I feel like something's jumping to the other page. So I think he's like meaning like with the other page, he's trying to see what it is, and like he's just nervous about it, and he doesn't really want to get anything wrong.
Okay, so Madison was talking about when she reads, when she finishes the page, she wants to go to the next one, right? But he, by not being able, sort of making that jump connection there, not being able to move on and not being able to do the next thing. What do you think, Ryder?
I think he felt like that because he, like, if he might have been jumping, then he might have been jumping and he just couldn't feel his legs drop because his legs were sore from the salt.
Okay, so you're going with sort of a little literal interpretation, right? About what maybe he knows what it feels like when you can't jump, when you're too tired to jump, kind of idea? Can't feel his legs. So when you're trying to do something and you just can't, you're not able because something's keeping you from doing what you want to do, right? When I told you couldn't use your legs anymore, first of all, when you did have your legs, you guys all were jumping super high. You guys could do it. And you felt probably success, right? Success. But when you no longer were allowed to use your hands or your legs, okay, nope, we're not doing it anymore. Thank you. Did you have that feeling of success anymore? No. Is it limiting? Was it frustrating? Was it hard? Okay, so all of those ideas in this book, that author, instead of saying he was really frustrated, which was the same kind of message, this figurative language gives us so much more interesting ideas about how hard this is for him. Okay, Henrik, we're good. So it's really helping us. So it says, and my thoughts get slippery. Can our thoughts really slip anywhere? Can we put our hands on our heads and feel our thought? Are they, slimy or slippery? You lose one? No. Is this figurative language?
Yes.
Yes. This is some more figurative language. And my thoughts get slippery, and I can't keep up with what I want to be. So what is happening to his thoughts? What's happening to them that he can describe them as slippery? Elena, what do you think? He thinks he can't do it? Okay. Thinks he can't do what? What's the it? Okay, he can't read. All right, Ellie? And then I'm going to ask somebody at home to give me some ideas. Okay. Okay. So maybe starting to be discouraged. Okay, so Ellie said maybe he's forgetting how to do things and he's feeling discouraged. Okay, so have you ever heard the phrase that slipped my mind? So when sometimes when we forget something or something we don't have, like we're distracted, something can slip our minds. So he's in this section, he's really saying, my thoughts get slippery. He doesn't have them all gathered. He doesn't know how to read. So when he's looking at those marks, it's really tough for him. And sometimes do you think he gets discouraged? Yeah. Do we get discouraged when something's hard at first? We know that this book is really about perseverance. So we know he doesn't continue with those discouraged thoughts. We know he's doing, we know he perseveres. But does everybody, even when they're persevering, get some times when they get discouraged and things are hard and we think maybe, I don't know if I can do this. And I can't keep up with what I want to be. What does he want to be? What does he want to be? Abby? A really good reader, right? Okay. Jensen, is your hand up? I can't quite tell. Okay, go ahead and tell me what you're thinking.
So after, but sometimes I feel like I am trying to jump without legs. It says, and my thoughts get slipperier.
Yeah, and what do you think that means when his thoughts get slippery?
More like where it's more bad.
Okay, where he's feeling bad and he can't keep it all together. Okay, yeah, it's an interesting way for that author to give that idea, right? Instead of just saying that he's feeling discouraged or my thoughts get slippery. And how he can't keep up with what I want to be and how good I will feel when I learn this magic. What's that magic? What does magic represent? Cole, what is magic? Not being able to read. And how people will look up to me. How people will look up to me. What does he want ultimately to be able to be or do? What is he looking forward to? What is his goal? Miss Bird? To be able to read. Yep, he does. And what does he want to do with that reading? Haley?
He wants to become a famous reader.
He wants to become a famous reader. Okay. Ellie? Wants to share it with other people. Good. Miss Astria, did you have something you wanted to share? I thought I had, nope. Okay. I wasn't sure where your hand was up a little bit there. Okay. So he wants to be able to share that with other people. Right? Sernay, what else? All right. He wants to teach people to read. Does he find the value of reading? Does he think it's important? And he remember back in the story, his dad and his brother don't see that magic. They don't see that importance. And he sees that it's really important for him, but not just for him, right? He thinks it's important for everybody, and he wants to be able to teach them about that. Okay, let's look at this next sentence. I can't catch the tune of what I see. I can't catch the tune of what I see. Does anybody remember? So that word tune, what does that make us think of, Haley? What is tune? Music, doesn't it? That when we hear a tune, I can't catch the tune. Is he actually trying to catch something?
No.
Is he physically trying to grab something? No. So do we have some more figurative language here? Yeah, catch the tune. So catch the tune. What might that mean, Sernay? Catch the tune. We talked about that the book, that he knew it had something to do with a sing-songy thing, right? And we talked about yesterday that the alphabet song, being able to sing the alphabet. So I can't catch the tune of what I see. So what does that mean in this case? All right, with our figurative language, you can't catch our tune. Anybody at home? Can't catch the tune of what I see. First of all, he says what I see. Music is usually something we hear, right? But he knows that there's a connection there. Sunny?
I think what it means is you can't catch like the sound of the letters.
The sounds of the letters, what sound they should make, and the music that would make when you put them all together. Okay, Elena, what do you think?
I think that he can't figure out how it sounds and what it
The sounds that, and he doesn't know what those letter sounds are and can't put them together. Okay, and if you put sounds together, you often make music, and those sometimes when we, especially when we read poetry, does it kind of sound like music? Our voice goes up and down, and there's definitely a sound, a sort of soothing. How many times do you have parents who read a story to you before you go to bed, and it makes you sleepy? Sometimes when they read to you, does it seem like there's a little tune to their voice? Sometimes they read and there's a nice gentle tune, and it just sort of relaxes us and puts us to sleep. Okay, so there is definitely a tune that we have that he's missing. I get a salt shoveling pain and feel my dreams are slipping away. Do we see any figurative language going on there? Can our dreams just slip out of our brain? No, but what does it mean in this case? Slipping away. His dreams are slipping away. Any of my friends at home? Slipping away. Miss Isabella, what does it you think it means by his dreams are slipping away?
When he can't quite get the image anymore, and he is having a hard time remembering his dream.
Okay. So let's talk about what is his dream? What is his dream that of the thing he wants so badly? What does he want so badly, Abby? To learn how to read. And so he says, I get a salt shoveling pain. So does he physically get pain sometimes when he's shoveling?
Yes.
Yes. But is he talking about a real pain right here? No. What kind of pain is he feeling when he thinks he's not going to be able to read? Marin? Very nice. Marin just said he starts to feel like his worried that his dream to be a reader is not going to happen. So he's feeling a pain, but it's not a physical pain. It's like a pain in your heart. He really wants something. Have you ever had something happen where you really, really wanted something? Either a thing or some sort of event, you really wanted it, and then it didn't happen? And it's not a physical pain, but does it make you super sad? Yeah, when something you were hoping and really dreaming and really you had put a lot of energy into and it doesn't happen. And that makes us, that's sort of painful. But not painful physically, but painful mentally, right? And so is this kid really want to read? Super, super wants to read. And the author is using these words to tell us that, kind of give us a really good insight of how badly this, instead of just, hey, yeah, he wants to read. No, this kid really wants to read so badly that it hurts him to think that sometime he might not get to be a reader. So, but does he let that stop him? No, because this very last sentence, let's read it together. Ready? Here we go. I have got to find him, that newspaper man. So he's so worried he's not going to become a reader, so he asks for help, and he's got to find that newspaper man, right? He's not going to let this stop him. He's going to move on. All right. So let us think again just a little bit about what we read yesterday and why, again, his family doesn't read, and he doesn't have anyone to help him at home. A lot of times we have helpers at home, right? If we have trouble with our homework, we can ask mom or dad, right? How would that feel if, and I think sometimes this does happen, I know it happens with my high schoolers, they have a question and they ask me and I don't know. They have to find somebody else, right? Okay, so what was going on at this time? Who can remind us about why he doesn't know how to read and his family doesn't know how to read? Abby, can you remind me?
His mom and dad and his family were in library before
Okay, so Eddie said his family, his mom and dad, were enslaved before this and had been set free, and but that we kind of talked about how they were not allowed to learn how to read. It was kept. It was kept from them. They were not allowed. They would get in trouble if they learned how to read. That's pretty strong, isn't it? But now they had this freedom, and he was going to use that freedom to learn how to read. All right, so now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and turn to page, I think it's 69. Yep, page 69. Everybody find page 69 in their workbook, and while you're finding that, I'm going to borrow pens. Pen is not here today. Going to need some of this later. All right. Oh, he hasn't been here. He hasn't touched it. Why not? Oh, he's on a trip for right now. So all that stuff in his desk is safe by now. All right. So on page 69. All right. Who remembers? I'm going to go ahead and turn back on my my document camera. Yes. Thank you, my friend. Who just said that? All right. So we need to think about who remembers what our lesson was. What we decided our central message or lesson was. You can flip back to your other page if you want to look back. We wrote it down yesterday. What we think the message of the story that the author wants us to learn. Really, nobody remembers, or could turn back and look. Oh, what page was it on? It was page 66. We wrote it at the bottom. What we think the central message or moral was. I see Isabella's got her hand up for me. I see Jensen's got a hand up. All right, my friends at home are finding it. Good job. Miss Haley, do you see it on the bottom of page 66? Can you find it for me? All right, Mr. Gavin, do you see it on the bottom of page 66? All right, Miss Astria, read to us what you see the central message, or just tell us in your own words.
Even when there are challenges to read, it is worth persevering and working hard.
Very nice. All right, so we're going to take that message and we're going to put it back up. We're going to put it up here again. Because today we're going to look for details in the text that help us understand that this is just like the backwards version of what we do on an assessment, right? When they ask us what they think the central message is and we have to go back and find the details, we're kind of writing the test question right here. We're trying to figure that out. So let's write it in here. Even, oh, that is not going to be the right marker today. Let's try this one. Even when, there we go, there are challenges. You're going to have to write a little bit smaller today, my friends, if you're a big writer. Even when there are challenges, learning to read, I'm going to stop there. You can also do this in your own words as long as you include all the parts, okay? So even when there are challenging, learning to read is worth doing what? Persevering. And what do we do if we can't figure it out ourselves? Ask for help. I'm going to add when you need it. So think about when you were little. I know you're still copying, so, or saying it in your own words. When you were little, think about when you first started to learn how to read. First, your parents probably showed you books and you looked at the pictures, right? You looked at the pictures first, why they did some reading. And then eventually you probably had certain books that you loved and you read, and they read over and over. You asked for the maybe one book over and over and over again. And then you started to memorize it, right? Are there books that you probably know, like maybe all the words to? There's a couple books I used to read to my kids that I didn't even have to look at the words by the time, after a while, because I just knew I'd read it so many times that I already just knew what the words were. I remember the ABC book, the Dr. Seuss ABC book. I could.
I read a book before and I didn't even have to look at it because I remembered it.
Very nice, Miss Haley. So, exactly. So we were reading books, even though we weren't reading necessarily the words sometimes, because what you probably had them memorized. And maybe you started recognizing some of the words. And then there was preschool and kindergarten where they started to teach us letters, right? And then they taught us, we practiced over and over again, and we started to get that idea, right? But we just didn't learn how to read on our own. There was a process, right? There was a process to it. We needed to ask for help. Now, sometimes it's easier for others. I have to tell you, my first child, I got to tell you, she would really get mad if she had a library book that I hadn't read yet, because she said, I can't read it. I don't know the words, because I hadn't read it out loud to her. She even refused to look at the pictures. She'd be like, I can't read it yet because I don't know what the words are. And then eventually she went to preschool, she learned her letters. And then even though that kid probably could have read at 3, she didn't want me to teach her. She went to kindergarten, she was there a week, and all of a sudden she could read. Because she let the kindergarten teacher teach her. Wouldn't let me. So, but again, there are certain things we can't learn just on our own. We need to ask for help. Okay, so hopefully I gave everybody enough time to finish there. What was well, you were gone, Miss Lila, I'm sorry, but you leave the room, so keep going. All right, so what was one of the things he said in our book that shows you that he persevered, that he went ahead and kept going even when it was hard? Haley, do you remember a part in the book?
I remember that when he said that my dream was away.
Okay, so is that show persevering now? That's more his disappointment, right? But he says something around there for sure. You can look at the words over here and see if you can find some things from over here. All of our details today are coming from this spot. So you can. He studies his book. Okay, where does it say that?
It says, even after work, he was on my father, still is in the language and result. I study my book.
Okay, that's exactly right, right? Even though, so let's write that. But we're gonna say Booker's. We're gonna put his name in there. Just it helps us with our knowing who our character is, because it says I. We know that is Booker, right? Booker's arms ache and his legs are, you can copy the sentence from right here too, up in your book, sorry, are stained he still does what? He still studies his book. Did we take that idea directly from the text? We did. It's directly in the text. It's that first sentence on page 68. Came directly from the book. All right, friends, let me see if I can make this bigger so that you guys can go back to your desk. It's much easier to write. So let me see if I can help out here.
I'm trying to stand.
Yeah. How about I do this? All right, so my friend, Miss Abby, go ahead and go back to your desk and see if now that I've made it huge, that should help, right?
Yeah. It was kind of hard because
I know, I know. So thank you for, I like how you solved your problem. I like that.
Yeah,
I just also know that it's much easier to write when we have a desk. Helps us. Okay, so if that's the detail, what does it show about our message? What does this sentence here show that proves that we're right on our lesson? Cool.
He tries to know what it means, and he perseveres through reading every night to see if he can eventually figure it out.
And why is he doing that? Why is he?
He has to read.
Because it's so important, right? It's so important. So this sentence, it describes how Booker perseveres because learning is so important to him. I misspelled. I did a kid thing. That's an ES. Because sorry, so it's Perseveres. Sorry, I put SE. I fixed my 2 letters. Sorry about that, friends. Teachers are not perfect, are they? And I write in the pen so you can see it easier, but then when I make a mistake, I can't erase. So I'm so sorry.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Everybody makes mistakes.
No one's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Life is hard.
I try hard, man, but not gonna happen. All right. So when you finish that, think of, go back to your text and see, do we have another sentence in our text in that on page 66? No, sorry, 68. That will help us understand how he's feeling, how it shows how he can persevere. Sonny, what are you thinking?
I can't catch the tune of what I see.
I can't catch the tune of what I see. That gives us definitely an idea about how it feels, right? How he's feeling. Does it show him persevering yet, though? Not yet. So is there enough? So look at the next sentence, Sonny. Read that next sentence out loud to us.
I have got to find.
Oh, no. The one directly after the one you just read.
I get a salt covered from the pain and feel my dreams are fading away.
Okay, so he describes how it feels to him, right? And we talked about that's not real pain, that's pain in his heart, right? Heartache. Okay, so he describes his, well, I'm going to call it salt shoveling pain. Right? Describes that he has salt shoveling pain and he feels his dreams slipping away. But what does that teach us? What's he feeling? In that sentence that Sonny mentioned before, I can't catch the tune of what I see. What is he feeling? What's that word we used when you're sad about and you're feeling like you can't do it? You remember what that word was that we used? Discouraged, right? So even though he's feeling discouraged, does he give up? No. hopefully sometimes because we talked about when you really want something and it doesn't happen, how that feels to you, how it hurts your heart, it makes you discouraged. And did Booker let that happen, that let himself stay that way? No. He figured out a way around it, right? That's something that we want to teach everybody, right? When you have something that doesn't work out, do you just go, oh, well? Or do you figure out a way to make it happen? That's what the author's encouraging, isn't it? Don't give up. Figure out another way around it. How do we know that he thinks learning is worth it? There's a sentence. I know you're copying, so I can't go to the other side. But look on page 68, if you're finished, and look and see, where does it show how we know he's going to feel good when it happens? Look at page, some of you are looking at me. I don't have the words written on my forehead, although that'd be great. Look at page 68, friends. Look at the text. Look at the text. Look at the text. Find a sentence for me. Find a sentence for me on page 68 where it shows how we know this is super important. How's he gonna feel when he learns to read? Oh, good. Ellie found it. Who else can find it? Look, look, look. See if you can find it on page 68. Anybody at home? Can you find it? Page 68. Find the sentence that talks about how he's going to feel when he finally learns how to read. Ooh, keep looking. Got 5 people here. How about my friends at home? Logan, did you find it? Logan, tell me where you find it on page 68.
You find it after I can't keep up with what I want to be, and it says, and how good I will feel when I learn this magic, and how people will look up to me.
So he thinks reading is super important, right? Because when he gets it, he's going to feel so good, right? So he describes, good job, Logan, you did it. How about my friends in here? Give me a thumbs up if you found that sentence. Very good. Okay. So he describes, oh, I got to put my friends away for a moment. There we go, so everybody can see. All right. Oh, not that. Okay. So he describes how good he will feel. When he can finally read, right? He describes, how good I will feel, and then he'll be able to do what? Teach others, right? And not only will will that make others feel good? Yes. There's a freedom in being able to read. There's a freedom of being able to know what something says. And when you don't know what it says, it doesn't feel very good. If you know, other people know, it's like a secret, right? Other people know that you don't know. And we all have struggles and things that we want to be better at. He describes how good, so how does that help us how does that help us communicate this here? How about the part that learning to read is worth persevering, right? It's worth hard work, right? Okay, so learning to read is worth, is he so going to feel so good when he's got it? I know when I learn how to do something new, you get a little feeling of pride, don't you, when you finish something that you couldn't do before. So learning to read is worth that hard work, and then you feel good about it. You feel great that you accomplished something. Yeah, it opens a whole new world and makes you feel great. There's one last major detail. If you read our moral, let's read it again. Even when there are challenges, learning to read is worth persevering, which we talked about persevering here, and asking for help when you need it. What detail have we not included there about that we have there? What do you think? What have we not touched on in our top portion there? Cole? Asking for help, right? So what detail on page 68 shows him asking for help? Josh, see. Yes, I have got to find him, that newspaper man. So he decides what's he got to do? He's got to find the newspaper man. Got to get some help. Okay, he has tried as hard as he can, but he's also figured out he can't do what? Can't do it alone, right? Can't do it alone. So my sentence I just added, oh, there goes Mrs. I was doing so well not making any mistakes. And I just got out of control there. He can't do it alone, so he has to ask for help. Is it okay to ask for help?
Yeah.
Definitely. It's what you got to do when you can't figure it out. When you've tried your hardest and you can't figure it out, you got to ask for help. Don't give up just because you can't figure it out yourself, right? So if we were the test writers that like to write those EL tests, they'd ask us a question and they'd give us some choices, right? And they would say, well, which one of these is the lesson or the moral of the story? And we would choose that top one, what's at the top of our paper, right? Even when there are challenges, learning to read is worth persevering and asking for help when you need it. And then they'd give us a lot of details from the story, like we just read. And we'd have to decide which ones went with our lesson. In this case, all 4 choices are right, huh? Yeah. They might stick another one in there, though. That's what they usually do, right? They stick in one that doesn't quite go with that choice. Like the candy one from the other test. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're done with copying. I don't want to, yeah, I just got a couple more people. Everybody at home, give me a thumbs up if you're done with, or if you still need a moment, keep writing.
Where should I put this?
All right. Robert, you got everything you need? I see gesticulations there. All right.
I finished my work today and my paragraph.
Good. And your paragraph. Awesome. Did you turn it in, Haley? Okay. All right. And to finish it up? Sure. Yeah. I did talk to her before you came over. So, but ask her, right, but ask her, yes, you can. Okay, I will. Here, take it. Oh, maybe try that. And then, and if she doesn't respond, then I'll chat with her. All right, my friends. Gonna escape out of there. All right, here we go. All right, so really quickly, here we go. So if we have this chart here, the who and the where, Booker T. Washington, here the Kanawha River and a mountain, our source is more than anything else. What were the challenges that he had? Who can say the sentence? What his challenge was? Madison.
His challenge was that he couldn't read, and he couldn't really, like, he didn't believe in himself that he could read.
Okay, well, I think we found out that he did eventually believe. He just needed some help, though, right? So, and did he have a chance to go to school?
No.
Nope. So we could put our challenge was that he didn't know how to read and didn't have time to go to school because he had to work, right? They had to make money to be able to afford to live. How did he overcome the challenge, Bella? Yes, you may. How did he overcome the challenge? Paxton, how did he overcome his challenge of not being able to read? He found somebody who could read and did what? Yeah, he asked for help and he learned how to read, right? He asked who the person he knew that he could get some help from. Good job, Miss Bird. Thanks for helping Surnay out. So that would go in there. All right. So how do we feel like we did with our learning target today? How do we do with our unfamiliar words and phrases? But this is the important part. How do we feel about our figurative language? Being able to give me a thumbs up, thumbs side, thumb down. How did you feel about how figurative language? If I gave you another figurative sentence, could you be able to figure out what it means instead of what it sounds like it means? All right, I've got some sides, Scott, okay, no worries. All right, so really quickly, right, oh, we're running out of time, but I want you to think about this. These are just things I want you to think inside your head. We're not gonna discuss, but we need to be able to get these in your brain so that next week we have some big tasks to do. And I want you to start thinking. Okay, hey guys, listening? So we want to work to become effective learners. Effective learners. Effective means to be able to do something well. And so do we think Booker was an effective learner?
Yes.
Yes. Did he do something that even though it was hard?
Yes.
Yes. Did he ask for help?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I want to give you some time to think. Miss Haley, are you listening? Next week, we're going to be talking about something that's challenging in our lives and something that we want to improve on. You're going to write an essay, which is some paragraphs, on something that you want to become better at, something you want to work on. And it's always best if you have some time to think about that, because you're going to have to come up with a plan on how you plan on improving that. So are you listening? Because you're going to have part of your paragraphs are how you think you can overcome that challenge and become better at something. Just like Booker became better at reading, he had to find somebody to help him. Now, your challenge might not have anything to do with asking somebody else for help, but it might have something in there about that. I want you to start thinking about it now so that when we actually get ready to write next week, you have an idea. All right, or a couple of ideas, some things that you want to improve on. It could be a school thing. It could be like multiplication facts. It could be like cursive. It could be like reading. It could be like that, but it doesn't have to be. Cole's brother Logan last year picked being able to play the piano better. And so it doesn't have to be something that is school related, although it can be. So I just want you to brainstorm some ideas between now and next week. So over the weekend, you think, oh, this is something, like you're doing something, you're like, this is something I want to be better at, or, oh, this is something I want to work on. Okay, so think about it over the weekend. It's going to help you in the long run. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Mrs. Aubin, can you talk to her? Yes. Yes, I can. All right, my friends, nice job today. My friends here on, oh, you already chat? Okay, so let me stop recording. Okay.